Here. Vice Mayor Alonso?
Here.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Here.
And just let the record show that Councilmember Statico does have an excused absence. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Councilmember Armitage. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, your word says that God is light, God is love, and God is life, love, and I forget.
God is forgiveness.
He's good.
Yeah. And Lord, His word also says that we were made in your image. So I pray tonight, Lord, that as we gather together and as we conduct the town's business, Lord, that you would, that those very qualities that you have in you, Lord, that we would be able to express those in our character tonight. We thank you, Lord, for being here. We thank you for your love for your people. We ask that you bless the little town of Superior. And Lord, I know that we're not small in your eyes, but we're very large because of your love for us. So we thank you for this time together, and we give you thanksgiving for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Light. Love, life, and light.
The three L's.
Okay, you in the head.
Well, you know what, we're not a boring council, that is for sure. We have a very special presentation tonight. We're very, very excited. And our chief has been away at police chief training, one of our first times to send our chief to an executive training. We're very proud of him. I'm going to turn the floor over to our chief tonight so he can introduce our new hires that we're very excited about.
So I'm going to spend a few minutes. Well, first of all, thank you, Mayor and Council, for this opportunity to speak. I'll spend a minute or two talking about SMIP, the Senior Management Institute for Police, that I attended for 3 weeks. This is an executive level course on which police chiefs and mostly commanders, lieutenants, captains attend. The course is very intense. It's at a graduate level, and I thought I was going to be able to kick back a little bit, but it didn't work out that way. Every night we had homework and papers to do and stuff like that. So PERF, that's the group that actually heads this. They've been around since the 70s, and they're out of Washington, D.C. However, they're housed in Boston, and they work out of Boston University. Originally, the plan was to go to Boston University, which would have been an amazing experience, but unfortunately, because of COVID, they had to postpone it. And this year, because of COVID, they didn't want any outside entities on their campus. They didn't want to infect the students or expose them or anything like that. So they moved us to Orlando, Florida, which was not a bad compromise. It really wasn't. So it was good. Besides the alligators, it was actually a pretty nice place. Anyways, so PERF is the one that runs this. Their claim to fame is the Pillars of Justice. They work with President Obama, 21st Century Policing. That's their big claim to fame that they've done recently. But as far as the instruction goes, we had Ivy League professors, something I've never been exposed to before. We had Harvard, MIT, Columbia, and I'll tell you right now, they're just amazing professors. And the dialogue and the engagement was just absolutely amazing. We had former commissioners, Bill Braxton there, and people at that level just guiding us and instructing us on the future of policing, some of the issues that are occurring today throughout the United States. And even though we're a small town, these issues still affect us, and they're relevant to us. So it was nice to have these discussions, especially with my peers from big cities and small towns and everything in between. So it was pretty fascinating. What I found amazing was they were more interested in me as a small town chief in a big city, and that's because of the dynamics. You know, in a small town, we do it all. We wear 100 hats. In a big town, the chief has an accountant, a lawyer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They do it all for them, and they really don't know the inner workings of an agency. But it's really neat understanding what's going on as far as mental health and some of the suicide that's going on and everything else in the United States. So it was really a great opportunity. I appreciate that I got to go. And just so you know, we use RICO funds for this, so it didn't come out of our training funds, and the city didn't have to, or the town didn't have to pay besides my plane ticket. So it worked out really well for all of us, and or for me. You know, I hope to bring back some skills that we are going to implement as far as community policing, and I look forward to that. So any questions about the school, or I know I kind of talk fast about it? Yeah. No? All right, so the second thing I want to do is, so I've been here a little over 2 years, and time flies really fast. It's just been an absolutely amazing experience. And one of the things I did in this very room when I did my presentation was talk about how the police department should reflect the community. So in these last 2 years, it's been a lot of hard work, and it's not a secret, Superior PD wasn't where it should have been. I feel very confident that we are on the right path. We still have work to do, but we're getting there. And we're a respectable agency, we're respected within our community. The town, we've had nothing but just compliments from throughout town as far as our policing practices and the methods we employ. But one of the things, like I said, was the police department should reflect the community. And after all this time, we're finally attracting people who have roots here or who actually live in this area, the Copper Corridor. And my first two gentlemen I want to bring up here, Mike and Jacob, you guys can come up here, please. So Jacob Cornett, born and raised in the area. We just hired him. He starts on Monday. That'll be his first day at the police academy, so he's brand new. He'll be at the police academy from September till February 3rd, so he's got a long night, a lot of work ahead of him. And I'll give him a few minutes to talk. And then Michael Jardine, his mom was born here in Superior. He's got roots here to this town. So, I mean, this is an accomplishment that we're finally attracting people. And I feel very confident, once we get people who are from here, they're going to stay here. Instead of us just being a department where people come for a year or two, get training, because it's very expensive, get the training, the experience, and then leave to Pinal County or Phoenix or somewhere else. And right now, during these times, I don't know if anybody knows, but like Phoenix is giving a $7,500 recruiting bonus. All these other agencies are paying a lot of money. So for us to get quality people who are from here is just an accomplishment in itself. I mean, it's something I'm really proud to report to the council. So I'll give Jacob and Michael, whoever comes up to the mic first, the opportunity to speak to the council, just to introduce himself for a few minutes.
I'm Michael Jardine, Detective Michael Jardine. I have approximately 12 years experience in law enforcement, with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. As the chief just said, my mother was born here in Superior, so I do have some roots. I do have additional family members that live here in Superior, Arizona. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome aboard.
Good evening. I'm Jacob Cornett. Raised in Kearney my whole life, with background. I got a lot of family from here. I've always been in this Copper Corridor, so it's home to me. I spent 6 years in the Marine Corps Reserves and been stationed here in Glendale all those 6 years. Recently got out. Really excited to finally be. This is also a dream career of mine that I've wanted since I was really young, and now it's finally coming true. So I appreciate everybody bringing me on board. I'm looking forward to going to that academy, getting through it, coming back to the streets, and doing some good here in this town. From what the chief has told me about the town's progression and growing, I really like what I hear about it. I'm really excited to be a part of it. So again, thank you for the opportunity. Not planning on letting anybody down. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
And just to wrap it up, I think we're at a turning point now, and it's just a bright future for the police department and also the town, in my opinion. These two gentlemen here, they're a great example. They're an awesome first example before all of you. So I'm really looking forward to the direction we're going and the great things we're going to accomplish. I just want to say thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you all. Welcome aboard. Council, any comments?
Welcome.
So for those of you that don't know, Jacob is my son. Kind of. Welcome aboard, guys.
Yes. Welcome aboard. We're excited to have you. And Jacob, just make sure we don't catch you wearing any Ray Bearcat stuff while you're on duty. Okay? That's
I was actually told to say this by my dad, my real dad, that my stepdad over there was also a Ray Bearcat.
Yeah, we know, but we kind of just pretend that he wasn't.
I'll do my best. I'll try to go 50-50.
You know he coaches, right?
We know, we had a discussion about this yesterday, you know, make sure we keep the rivalry going, so. But thank you, Chief, thank you, Jardine and Cornett, we're very excited to have you guys on board, so thank you.
Thank you.
And Chief, you're gonna send their pictures to the newspaper, I would assume?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so staff reports. Council, we had, to the public, we had our August break and it really flew right by. Do want to recognize Vice Mayor Alonso and Councilmember Estatico and myself. We all received our 8-year awards from the League of Cities and Towns Conference at the luncheon this last year, and this 8 years have flown right by so quickly. We've accomplished so much. Our youth council attended, they were well represented, they were also able to attend the resolution luncheon and hear about that project. And I moderated a panel on rural blight, and Arlen Godinez represented the EIC in our work with Seed Spot. So Superior was well represented at the statewide conference, led to a lot of networking, so I appreciate council who was able to attend with us. It is a lot of fun, and next year our goal is to make sure that we have a booth at the Festival of Cities. So we'll be working on that. Tuesday was our 45th anniversary of incorporation. If you've noticed on our social media today, they actually posted that our quest to become incorporated began in 1964 with a community council who reached out to the League of Cities and Towns, and actually Eloy was one of our mentoring cities who helped us along the way to make that determination. It took them over 10 years to actually get to the election point. So that was a big to-do. We'll be having the stage dedication on September 19th from 4 to 8 p.m. with a power drive concert. And then part of our 45th anniversary celebration is our first ever State of the Town address on October the 7th. So it's a month-long celebration, and we're also working with the Chamber. The Historical Society did some research. We think we got it as closely as they could, going through old Superior Sons and yearbooks. They went and found out all the businesses that advertised then in 1976, and we have a total of 16 businesses, churches, and nonprofit organizations that have withstood 45 years and maintained an operation. And then there's another group that obviously have been providing services but probably weren't going anywhere regardless of what happened. APS, CenturyLink, the bank, organizations like that they've meshed, reiterated themselves over the years and whatnot. But we're working with the Chamber for a recognition breakfast, and that's going to be on September 15th. If you want to attend, I know a couple of council members have already registered, but you can let Todd know and they can register you tomorrow, because we do have to get that done. It's been a pretty busy month. We're still working hard on the USDA grant loan application. We still have to do all of that, even though the earmark is pretty much in the legislation right now. So we're watching the federal grant, but we still have to go after the grant loan combo so we can stay on track to make the purchase of the old high school for our multi-gen center. So all of that is coming together very, very quickly. Our wastewater treatment plant is almost ready, right, Todd, to go to?
I'm told it'll be going to bid and posted next week.
Going to bid and posted next week. So that's been, about an 18-month to 2-year delay with COVID and everything else and contract changes. So that's been a lot. And it's been wonderful to have all this rain and see everything so green. And another notable notation is, if you all remember, in January, the council approved our mitigation agreements with Resolution Copper. One of the big parts of those mitigation agreements is our work around water and how much water needs to be returned to Queen Creek for optimal aquifer health. And we hired a contractor, GSA, and GSA is full of PhDs, and they're getting to work, and we should have some reports after the first of the year, we believe, on moving that project forward. So there's a lot of things that have been going on, even though we did have an August break. Council staff just didn't have to prepare a council meeting. So thank you, staff. You guys do fabulous work, and we're very proud of you. Todd, do you have anything else that I forgot?
No, just that I was going to have the contract for the grant for the landing zones on this agenda, but ADOT is being slow on that. Hopefully it'll be on the next agenda. Item number 5 on the consent agenda is for approval of a grant. We've already been denied the grant, so I don't know if we have to approve it tonight or if we want to remove it. We probably can approve the consent agenda with it on, but
Okay. All right, well, that's a pretty big report. Council, I'm gonna read the consent agenda, but I'm gonna ask to remove agenda item 4 on the consent agenda and approve that separately because I'd like to explain a little bit about this, but I have to recuse myself because I do work for the Copper Corridor Economic Development Coalition. So, to our consent agenda tonight is approval of minutes of regular town council meeting on July 8th, 2021, approval of letter engagement with Hinton Burdick for FY 2021 audit, approval of this CSO customer service order, which is supplement to the State of Arizona Carrier and Broadband Provider Service Agreement CTR 0549872 between the Town of Superior and CenturyLink Communications LLC for the provision of services, contract term, expiration date, 3-year term. Agenda number 5, 4 and 5 we can remove. 6, approval of Arizona Department of Liquor License Control Special Event License application for Shelby Storms for an event located at the Boyce Thompson Arboretum located at 37615 East Arboretum Way on Friday, September 10th, 2021 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Approval of the Town of Superior alcohol permit for Martha Lopez for a dinner located at the Magna Club on Friday, August 27th from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Approval of the Town of Superior alcohol permit for Roy M. Lechuga for a memorial located at the Magna Club on Tuesday, September 9th, 2021, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Approval of Town of Superior alcohol permit for Olga Lopez Social Club for a horseshoe tournament to fundraise for the SHS scholarship located behind the Senior Center on Saturday, October 23rd, 2021 from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And approval of Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control Special Event License for Francisco V. Moreno Red Bear Outfitters Inc. for the Mike McKee Motor Madness on Main Street, on Main scholarship fundraiser located at Roses Deck 203 Main Street, Superior, Arizona on Saturday, November 6th from 1 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. and Sunday, November 7th, 2021 from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. and our department reports. So council, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 3, 6 through 11. So moved. There's a motion on the floor by Councilmember Navarrete. There's a second by Vice Mayor Alonso. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And I'm going to step down and tell you all about the Copper Corridor for just a quick minute, and the Vice Mayor can handle that vote. I will be very, very brief. Council, as you may be aware, the Copper Corridor Economic Development Coalition does provide some regional economic development support. They are the coordinators and funders of the Superior Farm to Fantastic Farmers Market, the Food Hub. We do work in tourism. We're also going to be launching a new supplier portal website, and we also do some work with the 504 USDA funding to help low-income residents across the Copper Corridor receive money. We have promoted the Copper Corridor as a tourism destination for well over 5 or 6 years. With the influx of federal dollars coming to the state of Arizona, there is a tremendous amount of grant funding available. In order for the Copper Corridor to continue to qualify and to do the work that we're doing with our branding that we have implemented, we need to solidify our partnerships. And so the council, even though Superior has its own DMO, Destination Marketing Organization, you are allowed to, and what we're leaning towards now is because Superior has a more robust tourism opportunities here, a letter of support from your council saying that you appreciate the work of the Copper Corridor and to continue to promote you for practically free, because we don't really ask anybody for any money. We raise that money collectively across the region. So with that particular motion, we just need a motion from your council to approve a letter of support or a letter of approval that the Copper Corridor can continue to promote the town of Superior for tourism promotion. And we have a lovely website, you should go take a look, discovercoppercorridor.com.
Any questions from council? Is there a motion? I think Gilbert made a motion. Okay, is there a second? Motion by Gilbert, second by Ms. Lopez, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
All right, thank you very much, council, we appreciate your support.
We'll get a letter of support. Need to work on that letter.
I've been doing that because they've kind of changed the mechanism like 3 times from the time I sent that to Todd. So thank you, staff, for handling all of that. Now on to our new business. Council, discussion possible approval of resolution 2021-642, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Superior, Arizona, amending Town of Superior Council Resolution number 6, increasing the compensation for the mayor and council members of the Town of Superior, repealing all prior resolutions regarding same, and designating an effective date. Action item number 1. And where am I? So this is a town council decision. The compensation of the officers as set forth in this resolution shall be effective for officers of the Town of Superior sworn into office after the November 8th, 2022 general election, and this will be budgeted in the 2022-23 election. For the public, many of you know that our council has continued to serve on a volunteer basis. Prior to the Great Recession and some very difficult financial times, the council never ended their ability to pay their council, but the council opted not to fund it in the budget. As you know, our council has been working diligently and very focused on doing what's best for our community. Our staff began looking into how we go about actually providing some compensation to our mayor and council in a stipend form. And what we found, we had to go back in all of our records, and when they incorporated the town back in 1977, they agreed to pay the mayor $100 a month and $50 a month for council. While our previous predecessors were getting paid a little bit more, we could not find the resolutions that were enacted properly to adjust for cost of inflation. So, and we cannot enrich ourselves, so we cannot accept this increase in this stipend until the next election. So the mayor's rate will go up to $450 a month, and the vice mayor and council goes up to $250 a month. $225. And so this does require a council action, but because this does involve some compensation, I hope that was a thorough explanation to those in the public and those maybe watching online.
Mayor, I'd just like to clarify what I did to come up with those numbers is I entered the $100 into a inflation calculator from 1977 to today. So it prorated for inflation is exactly the same amount as it was enacted in 77.
So I do have a question. So if we approve as is, I did read that a council member could opt out by writing a letter. But say we would want to pay the mayor more, just as an example. If we prove it as is, it has to be the 450. It can't go for the 450.
You can adopt anything you would like to adopt as a council. With it, and it again, it doesn't take effect immediately, but right. This was just the only reason those numbers are those numbers is just to give a basis for you to consider. You don't have to be bound by that in any way.
Right. Well, I guess my question is, once this, say we approve it as is, it can't be more than 450 or 225 unless we pass another something later time. But say we pass, I'm just throwing a number out there. Say we say it's 1,000, just as this. That doesn't mean that that's what we would have to pay. It's going to be what we put in the budget.
Mayor, council members, on the resolution tonight, as you're aware, the effective date is after our next general election.
Yes.
That a council member would be eligible. And as the mayor pointed out, we have statutes that prohibit council members from giving themselves a raise. So you are basically setting a salary for the office. So in the example of the mayor, for the mayor to get a raise, she's got to get reelected. and just like every other council members
Right.
that are there. Specifically as to your question, you could change these numbers, you could raise them, you could lower them, because it's not gonna be effective until the future. And the issue of you paying that amount, basically it'd be a function of you either revisiting the resolution to ratchet it down, ratchet it up, or basically that you would fund the appropriation of the budget. So I hope it was a roundabout way, but I hope I answered your question.
So, say we approve this at 450. She gets, when we get reelected, or if we get reelected, thank you.
Whoever gets reelected.
Based on this being passed, it would have to be the 450. Like it couldn't be lower or higher unless we pass another resolution.
You could move to approve this resolution as amended tonight, and you would have those new numbers there. You would have to have a majority of the council to approve it. So say, for example, the mayor is 450, if you decided you wanted to take it to 500, your motion would be, I move to approve resolution.
No, I understand that.
Okay.
Never mind.
I think to answer your question, yeah, you can't be a part of the normal cost of living increases that the town does for its employees or anything else unless it was included in this resolution that there was a regular increase.
Okay.
So, otherwise it would need to be a new resolution.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments?
Well, I have a question. I'm not gonna be involved, I don't come up for re-election until 24.
Correct.
So that means that, when, according to the way that you described it, I wouldn't be able to receive the stipend until 2024 if I was re-elected.
That is correct, because you can't give yourself a raise.
Right. So can I even vote for it then? Well, I guess I can, but it doesn't,
There is an existing resolution that allows us to pay $100 and $50, which we could do. It's just, it doesn't have a mechanism for opting out, and it is not a lot of money. So I haven't asked the council to authorize going back to that because I wasn't clear as to, it wasn't ever formally withdrawn. I don't see a mechanism for us to just start doing it again. So we pretty much are stuck waiting until the next election cycle before any of this can take effect.
But the next election cycle, we can't just enact. It wouldn't, we couldn't make it so it went to the entire council, like the whole council. The other ones would have to wait till the 2024. I thought once you did it and it was just the next general election, it was enacted for everyone.
Is it as simple as changing the verbiage in that, where it says compensation for the officers is set forth in this resolution shall be effective for officers of the town of Superior sworn into office after the November 22nd general election? I mean, is there's something that can change in there to where the council members that aren't eligible for this until their 2024 election can start getting compensated if that's the route we want to take on the next general election?
To answer your question, I would have concern about it because the statute's clear you can't give yourself a raise. I don't think that they bifurcated it with the council, and for the amount of money that you would be getting, I would not want to put you in a position where basically you would have to try to justify that you didn't do something appropriate for basically, a $225 raise. I think what you could do in the next fiscal year or budget is that you could, as part of the budget, you could, because this ordinance, resolution number 6 has never been repealed, going back to 1977, you could reinstate it as part of the next budget process. Because you're not giving yourself a raise because the resolution has never been repealed.
And we did include council pay in this budget though, didn't Todd put that in there? So wouldn't it make more sense to just, maybe we have to do it at the next meeting, just fund it, like it's funded in the budget and go back to the $100 and $50. Council, if the members don't want it, you donate it to one of the groups or, you know, put it on your sewer bill or something.
Mayor,
Yeah,
Council?
I think for me, I was asking the questions, I would opt out. I think that the 450 is not enough for the mayor. So I think that's why I was asking, like, what is the restriction as far as, you know, we say 450, that's what it is the next cycle. Huh? Yeah.
Okay, you guys were not, did you have something to say, Todd?
I would just say that the number, the $450 is an arbitrary number, and the council can choose to enact whatever you feel is appropriate. It is a council decision.
But we have to do it at this resolution, correct?
But we have time before the next election, if you would choose to table this and have me bring it back with different language or any changes, or you can do an amended motion saying, I want this change added into this resolution.
Because it's just good, because once we're all seated, then you can't really go back and increase anything then, because then that takes effect at the next election. So what the numbers we set now are kind of what it needs to be going into after November 8th, 2022.
What did we budget, Todd?
We budgeted 150 for council and 400 for mayor, I believe. But again, we have to find, before we enacted that, we had to find the resolution and the causal link that justifies the council doing that. And in doing so, we went down a rabbit hole of every resolution the town's ever adopted until we got back to 1977. This was not a small research thing, and we were just lucky to have assistants in town hall to be able to do all this research to find it.
And they had never enacted their cost of living pay increases correctly, because I think before they stopped, the mayor was getting like $500 a month. Council was getting insurance. There were a lot of other benefits that were going on, and they had to restrict some of that. Some council members, not all.
I don't know about the mayor, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of us did need to take insurance because we were retired.
Yeah.
And some of us were maybe just getting the 50, not the 100.
Yeah. So there was some variations but again, they were trying to do all this very thorough research. So thank you to our National Guard soldier who did all this other research.
And we had to also go through every resolution from then till now to make sure there wasn't another one in there changing any of it, and there just wasn't. So, but it meant eyeballing every resolution for the last 40, 50 years.
So these are arbitrary numbers, and if we choose to apply different numbers, then that's fine. There is another budget between now and the time this will take effect anyway, right?
Yes.
So it could be, so we could go 1,000 on the mayor and whatever we want on the council people, because none of us are affected by that at all.
Well, Vice Mayor and Councilmember Statico and Councilmember Aguilar's seats are the ones up in the 2022 election.
Right, so, but they have to be reelected and re-sworn in.
Yes, well, we all do.
Right, so basically, whatever numbers we come up with does not affect this group of people at all.
At this moment.
No, until another election, right, so I do think that the amount of money for the mayor is kind of skimpy for the amount of work that this mayor does. And I certainly would like to see that a higher number.
Well, I think regardless of who the mayor is, the amount of responsibility, and because our staff is small, there's a lot of demands on this position that, yeah, you can submit your reimbursement for travel and stuff, but there's a lot of other things that come up with that position. I'm very fortunate that I have the support system that I have, and very fortunate that I have employers that are very, very flexible and very understanding, and they don't care when I do my work. So.
Just to clarify, this $400, if we were to bank out the current mayor's staff hour or office hours, that she spends in office, it would be about $5 an hour. But that doesn't count off evening times, emails, anything, any of the other events she goes to. So it's not a large, generous number, 400. So it's just up to the council what you feel is appropriate.
We don't really have anything, I mean, you haven't given us anything to compare it to. Unless you know some figures that are out there that we could, that you could give us that we can use to compare.
I can do that, a pay parity study, if that's what you prefer. It's hard to find direct comparables because not every council's a little different. Some of them are full-time paid positions, some of them are part-time positions. Some get paid a bunch of what would you call extra little bonus items like food and meals and things like that. So it's hard. There's not always a direct correlation, but I can do a pay parity study and bring it back to the council next month if that's what you prefer. Again, we do have time.
We have if we were to table it and have you come back with other options.
I think so.
Yeah, as long as we have this done and approved within 30 days of the November 2022 election, we'd be okay. And there is a league survey for what, I believe for salaries for council members, and they do by cities at certain size, but you can certainly look at that. But I would ask you to consider when you look at that, ask how many of those cities and towns are working on a development agreement with Resolution Copper, have doubled or tripled the size of the city through annexation, have a sewer plant renovation going on, and building a multi-gen center.
Is that readily available on the league's website, do you know?
It used to be, I know that it used to be on the website. I will look to see if I can find it and I will get it to Todd.
Yeah, so that way staff doesn't have to do, work. If it's available, that they probably just send us a link.
And
we can look it up.
we do have that. Ruby gets a copy of it every year. I would say that.
Did we lose Gilbert? Yeah.
All right, get my exercise.
I don't even know at what point, because we had a very interesting conversation.
Welcome, and thank you for choosing free conference calls.
This is the
If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please wait, and you will be joined into the conference. Please announce yourself.
Gilbert, are you there? Okay. All right. Sorry, Gilbert. So.
I'd like to have more.
Okay.
Because I think these numbers are kind of puny. At least the mayor's figure is kind of puny, and I'd like to at least make them educated.
No, I agree. I want to make sure, Councilmember Aguilar, just so you know, we were going, I don't know when you cut off, we were pretty much in a very robust conversation about, how we came about the numbers, the existing numbers in the resolution. And right now, with the questions that our council's asking, Mr. Cooper's suggested that we go to look at a pay parity study for our mayor and council and look at those types of things before we approve it, so we can maybe have an increase in those numbers. Staff's done a really good job at, kind of getting us to this point, because it's taken a lot of work to do it correctly. So, did you need any other information? Are you good there?
Yeah, I know what you can pay, you could with the, I just made a suggestion to cut out until Monday, because we were better financially, and that's why I stopped. And, but I mean, whatever, staff, like, I'm good with it. So I do think that we do need to make a study, because that's the best alternative.
Yeah, and one of the things, because of the enriching, we can't, anything that we do will not become effective until the November 2022 election. So that's where that comes. So we have a little bit of time, and right now, some of the indications from council, there isn't a motion yet, but there's indication to table this and bring back more information so we can really look at what is a realistic and probably a little bit more compensation for these positions. So there's not a motion, so anybody who wants to make a motion.
I make a motion to table this item and have staff come back with other options.
Second.
There's a motion by Vice Mayor Alonso and a second by Councilmember Armitage. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council, and thank you to staff. This is a really much appreciated, and I'm glad we've accomplished the legwork we need to work on this. Moving on to agenda item B, discussion approval of American Rescue Plan money projects as discussed in the work session before the town council meeting. The money from the American Rescue Plan is paid for those projects. So a quick recap, council, based on our discussion, we wanted to allocate $25,000 as a direct allocation to the Chamber of Commerce for their tourism and economic development visitor center work and to help them with the losses they had from COVID, but also create a nonprofit loan or grant fund and allocate the home improvement funding money to rebuild Superior. And we would not fund the makerspace equipment. And is that kind of how you need the motion, or any further discussion, council?
I would request direction on how much you would like to be put to the nonprofit loan fund that we're partitioning off from the Chamber's grant.
Okay.
Or grant fund, I apologize.
Grant fund.
Well, if we're dropping the makerspace up to 20, we just put it, so it's the 25 for the chamber, and then it would be 25 for the rest of the nonprofits?
So, yeah, we'll do 25 for the nonprofit fund, nonprofit grant fund, 25 to the chamber. And then leave the 10,000 or the amounts that are in there, because it's the two allocations, I think, for the home improvement money for rebuild. And I think that's good, right? And we're not gonna do the makerspace funding because it didn't count. And everybody on what we do decide is that the business revolving loan fund, did we want to just use that 50,000 for business grants? Or do you want more information on that before we make the final decision? I think the discussion was leaning towards just making them small business, leaving the $50,000 in there for a small business grant. So 50,000 this year, and then there'll be 50,000 next year. We can probably utilize Local First for that.
It could be put together as a grant to Local First for the purpose of a small business grant fund.
Yes.
I would prefer that.
Okay.
Over loans. I don't feel like we have enough information to make the decision for it to be a loan.
And the specifications of these things, as we get into actually spending the money, a lot of this is going to end up coming back, because we're going to be making purchases outside of Todd's expenditure limit. So with that being said, do we have a motion to approve these expenditures, to approve these allocations with our ARPA funding?
I move.
There's a motion by Councilmember Navarrete to approve the expenditures of our American Rescue Plan Act proposed projects. There's a second by Councilmember Lopez. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Looks like the chamber's getting their money. Yay. Okay. Next thing. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. All right, agenda item C, discussion possible approval of Intergovernmental Transportation Funding Agreement, PRTA, between the Canal Regional Transportation Authority and the Town of Superior for design and construction of improvements in connection with the local roadway element. Staff recommends approving the PRTA. Discussion. The purpose of this agreement is to set forth the responsibilities of the parties for the planning, funding, design, and construction of the local roadway projects and to address the legal and administrative matters among the parties. The local roadway project shall consist of projects proposed by the local jurisdiction on a fiscal year basis pursuant to Section 4 of this agreement. The initial term of this agreement shall be 5 years commencing on the effective date and shall be subject to renewal of 5-year terms with the parties' mutual consent. Fiscal impact use of the PRTA contribution amount, which is $300,000 per year, which is the annual amount the PRTA must distribute to the local jurisdictions on an annual basis. Before we go to a motion on this is mostly housekeeping, but I really want council and the public to know that Superior's ahead of the game when it comes to the PRTA. Our staff has been on top of this, ready to go. Svetlana, is at all of these meetings, and when they say you need to have something done, she and Todd are out there getting it done. So we are a shining example to some of our other small communities in helping them. And one of the things that have, obviously the PRTA has not been approved yet by the state Supreme Court, and we're all anxiously awaiting that. But there is some additional funding because there's cost of inflationary dollars that were listed in the PRTA that our communities will receive, but the other projects in the PRTA will not. So the big cities are not very happy about this, but this was a little, nugget for us, so we're gonna have to fight to make sure that it stays intact. But we're still waiting on Supreme Court, so this is housekeeping, so we are ready to go the minute these funds are available. We're gonna be very optimistic.
Mayor, I would like to make a request. I would like to request that the council authorize you to sign this when it's complete. Our attorney would like to go back and make sure that we get the opportunity to include drainage projects and not just straight pavement projects.
Okay, that's a good idea. So, anything else, council? Questions, comments? You do need a motion.
Make a motion to approve action item number 3, authorizing the town manager to approve when it becomes available.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Navarrete. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Motion carries. And we are going to move now to call to the public. Is there anyone on the list? Oh, can you come to the mic though, please? I don't know if anybody else is doing that. Sue can go first.
Apologies, I forgot to sign the paper. Thank you all very, very much for your support of the paper. It's been an interesting opportunity for all of us. We've all had things that have been very difficult, and some have been quite easy. But during these last 18 months, I will tell you the chamber has learned how to hold on to every single penny it has and be very, very frugal in the way we're spending our money. But now this is really going to help us a lot. We qualify for very, very few grants as a C6 nonprofit. So this is really going to be a boost to us and keep us going. Thanks very much, and we will be updating all of you on the Burl Run and the Mining Festival, which is October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And that's not without its challenges trying to do both of them at the same time, because we're sharing Main Street. Okay, so that in itself, it is working out very well, working with a great team, and we should have just a stellar event ahead of us. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the chamber. I know it's been a rough couple of years, so we appreciate that. You guys are still hanging in there. Anyone else for call to the public? All right, hearing none, we will move on to summary of current events. We'll start with Councilmember Aguilar. Do you have anything? I'm still there. Gilbert?
I'm still here.
All right. Do you have anything for council comments? No comments? All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Armitage.
Again, welcome to Mike Jardine and that guy from Kearney, whatever his name is. I think it's Jacob. Anyway, we truly welcome you into the town and look forward to interacting with you on an irregular basis.
Councilmember Lopez.
No, just ditto what you said about the newcomers, and we appreciate it, and wish you all success here with us in Superior. And just to add to things that are going on in the community, I wanted to probably say that the St. Francis Church is operating again on Main Street, and we have masses there, so we're happy to have that done.
Oh, congratulations, that's good news. Councilmember Navarrete.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Vice Mayor Alonso. All right, well, thank you, everybody. A quick note, on October the 16th, there's going to be a cleanup along the Lost Trail. This is coordinated by Local First, the Tonto National Forest, Lost, the Town of Superior. This is kind of be the prep work to the borough races. Lost is also, I'm surprised Mr. Shank didn't get up and talk about the Lost raffle and all that, so, you know, buy raffle tickets and all that good stuff. Too late, Jim. Mr. Pryor, do you have anything else?
I do not, thank you.
All right, well, thank you all. Our scheduling of our next meetings: Emergency Services Committee meeting 9/16/2021, Community Development 9/23/2021, Planning and Zoning 10/7/2021, and Town Council 10/14/2021. Council, our November meeting is on Veterans Day, so we're gonna have to look at either an alternative date, but that's something that's gonna determine on what kind of council business we have, and hopefully we have some good council business to do in November, so. There's some timelines pending. Council, do we have a motion to adjourn? There's a motion by Vice Mayor Alonso. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Lopez. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, and we are adjourned at 7:52. Thank you, council. Thank you, staff.
Tomorrow is second Friday.
Jim, you gotta write this stuff down. You got it. You should have gotten up there.
Well, somebody needed to wake him up.
I think I might comment
They didn't have to do